What do we do with a text like that? Well, let me reiterate that second part of the good news again, that God raised Jesus from the dead. So the fullness of the gospel is also what we call the great mystery of faith. That Christ has died, Christ is risen, and Christ will come again. We say this in our prayer of great thanksgiving before communion when I get my act together and actually put it in the bulletin. In the resurrection, God makes the impossible possible. But not only that, God makes the impossible a reality. So in other words, this is the good news. The impossible is where God's best work is done. My heart breaks to wonder, well, where is the resurrection for Ahmaud Arbery, for George Floyd, for Breonna Taylor? Where is the resurrection for our dear friend Ray, or for my friend Dave, who we lost to cancer this past week? Where is the resurrection for all of our beloved dead? Lost to violence or hunger or sickness or simply the passing of time. If God could bring Jesus back from the dead, why not then and why not now? And that's where we encounter the mystery, part of this great mystery of faith. And I don't say this to upset you, but simply to pass on what I've learned from Jesus when his disciples asked him a similar question about the end times, presumed to usher in this new age in Luke 21. When will these things happen? And Jesus speaks of scary things. He talks of riots and wars and armies in the streets, and he speaks of agony and angry judgment, of dismay and confusion among all nations. But then he says your redemption is near. He also says this will give you an opportunity to testify, and that he will give us the words and wisdom that none of our opponents will be able to contradict. In other words, no matter what kind of crazy is going on down in the world around you, pandemic or murder or protests or war or famine or flood or hornets or hurricanes, our calling is to testify to the fullness of the gospel. Yes, things are bad. Yes, it doesn't seem like things could possibly get better anytime soon. But the impossible is where our God's best work is done. We are in an end times of sorts. We kind of always are. There's always new possibilities awaiting us. And there's always things that we can let go of. May we seek these new possibilities with God's help, discern them with God's wisdom, usher them in with God's guidance, and sustain them by the strength we continue to find in practicing compassion and grace towards one another. Amen.